Good morning, St. Louis. Welcome back to another episode of Who's Talk Mobile, where this is Silva with, is this a him or her? I never asked her.
Yeah, it's her.
It's a her?
We're just going to call it her.
Just gonna call it her? Well, making her second appearance on the episode. Hello. Everybody, y'all know this guy, Gabe Coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then y'all know everybody in the back.
If y'all can't see me.
If y'all can, just
how's it going?
Yeah.
Trying to speak up. Y'all be hearing me sometimes because I be soft spoken when I need to be.
And she be dropping knowledge.
When I have to.
Yeah, this is Gabe Coach, Ivy Marie, and I'm Artemis Caldwell. This is the group for Who's Talk, and we're gonna get it cracking. Gabe, you brought up a topic for us to talk about today on this episode was just gentrification, and just for real, wanted to talk about what is that? You know what I mean? Go ahead and let you.
So yeah, I thought of the topic because I was looking at a video the other day, and I think it's like a major topic in our community, which is gentrification. Basically, what it is improving the neighborhood to middle class tastes, and that's usually associated with white people coming in the poor neighborhoods and fixing up everything, and then kicking the black, kicking everybody out, poor people out, whoever they may be. But that's what people usually associate with gentrification. But the reason I brought it up, because the video was talking more of how gentrification can be beneficial to us, and that it doesn't have to be a bad thing if you change your mindset about it.
Beneficial to who?
Beneficial to
the people that's getting put out.
Basically, yeah, the black community. Okay. We're gonna go with that, since that's usually who we're talking to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can be beneficial to us if we change our mindset about ownership, right?
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you an example of how it can be beneficial. Let's say you own a house on the south side, in the Grove or whatever, right?
Right.
If you go down to the Grove, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. They got a bunch of bars and everything, but the home values over there is high, right? But they weren't that high not long ago.
Right.
But let's say if you owned a home in that area, now your home is worth, let's say, the top house sold for $350,000. Now your home is worth potentially $350,000 because you own it. And if you don't basically, sell your house or anything like that, you get to keep that value. If you don't have a mortgage payment on it, you got a bunch of equity in it now. Now you get the potential to keep all of that money if you did sell it. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way that gentrification would be beneficial,
And wouldn't that, let me ask, and that goes under the same thing as, not necessarily economics, but again, understanding real estate, right?
Just understanding, just owning things, If you own something, you got the option to sell it or not.
Right.
Really, if you keep everything on point, can't nobody force you to give it away or anything. Now, you do have things like eminent domain and all that, but if you, and I'm pretty sure that can be stopped, but something can be done about it if but for the most part, if you own a home, can't no one take it from you.
Yeah, you're right.
If you keep everything on point.
See, but you can't say that if you can't nobody take it from you if you keep everything. You see what I'm saying?
But you should already know that. I'm gonna give you an example.
You good.
All right, we driving, we good. But I'm gonna give you an example, right? As you know, I do real estate, and I look up information about the tax sales that they have in in the city and the county. And basically what happens is you have, you know, the older generation, they've had this home for like 30 years free and clear. And let's say they pass away. The heirs to that property, a lot of times they don't pay the taxes, they don't keep it up, they don't do anything with it.
You're right.
That's another way that other people get a hold of these homes. And, you know, we as a people complain about, oh, they coming in and kicking us out. Well, at the same time, we still got to keep up. We still have to manage accordingly the things that we get inherited. We have to value that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if we don't value it, somebody else definitely will see an opportunity in that which you don't.
I feel that.
You know?
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had to look up the actual definition to know what this was, because when you first said it, I thought you were talking about gender, not actually real estate. So I have the pulled up book text definition as the process of conforming to an upper or middle class lifestyle, appealing to those with more affluent tastes. I find it interesting that that's one of the breakdowns of many definitions to that word that I actually have pulled up right here. But I found that phrasing to be interesting because it makes me feel like, okay, so upper and middle class to the fluent taste. Like, so what y'all trying to say? Like, what is it? Why do we have to be conformed into liking a certain thing or liking something that has to have the higher price tag when I could probably make something just as good with my own two hands? You know what I'm saying? Why do we have to be conformed to this? Why can't we use those same resources to make everything great? Like, why do we have to conform to some bullshit? See, that's how I feel.
I feel that.
Like, well, we gotta conform.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But you gotta ask yourself, and even as a black person, do you think a middle class black person will want to live in an area that we're driving down?
Why do we have to let this area get to this low of a point? And why does it take to a certain amounts of extremes for it to finally get the TLC that it needs? The certain neighborhoods shouldn't. Let me say it like this. There are certain countries and economic systems that are flawless. And you can go visit certain parts of the world and everywhere looks beautiful. All the cities and the counties look great and got good homes and got good houses and school systems and stuff like that. We don't have places like, oh, you can go over here, but don't go to Compton.
Well, look, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. And hopefully this might kind of explain to you why. So, like, back in the 30s and the 20s, 30s, and the 40s, you know what the Great Migration was?
Yeah, I'm aware.
So basically, that's when all of our ancestors who were freed, either freed slaves in the South or the generation after, they moved north, moved to cities like St. Louis. So specifically in St. Louis, when a lot of poor, black migrants came up here, a lot of them, they either were already moved into poor neighborhoods or they were in public housing.
Okay.
Well, public housing started back in around like the 50s, I think. So public housing didn't kind of come about till later. But a lot of us, we weren't able to buy homes, so we had to save up the money that we had to buy property. We had to buy properties cash because we couldn't get loans.
Right.
But, we still had poor neighborhoods. Now, we still had affluent black neighborhoods then as well. But here are two contributors that I say. One is white flight, which is basically where white Americans who lived in the inner cities back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s,
they left.
they left. they left and they took everything with them. And black people moved in, and we didn't necessarily have
That's called the Rust Belt.
Yeah, we didn't necessarily have that infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of us, we did have, black business districts or black, affluent black communities like Tulsa, Rosewood, and places like that.
Yeah.
But other than what happened to those, what happened to the rest of them, we just abandoned them. After 1968, we just abandoned our own communities as well. We started moving out into the suburbs. Now we got, for example, in St. Louis, now we got a bunch of people moving out to North County, moving from the city to North County.
Yeah.
And the trend goes on.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of factors that go into it. But we still have the ability to change, and because of the control that we have. If we stayed in our communities and put money back into our own communities, we could create our own communities, have our own, home values at a point to where, they're the same as, let's say, a Kirkwood or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
But we also have to add that I was saying that appreciation factor back into the community. You know what I mean? Because when you go down to, let's say, Kirkwood, and just now that we can tune in on this, first off, what is middle class? You know what I mean? Like that right there.
Let's even put it like this, in a little more of a simpler, I guess, idea, or what's the word I'm looking for? Scenario. Why do we have to go to certain places just to find a Chick-fil-A? Why we gotta go to certain neighborhoods to find, Raising Cane's or stuff like that? But you find McDonald's everywhere.
Here's another contributor to that I say is, is in that factor. Now, I do agree. I don't think Chick-fil-A or Raising Cane's, they want to move into an area like this.
Yeah.
I do agree with that, but you also have to think of the disposable income of the community around that area too. You have to also think about that. Like, in that video I watched, they used the grocery store for an example. A grocery store is the lowest profit margin business there is. So, like, if you want a grocery store in the community, the people have to have enough income to shop at that particular grocery store, and there have to be enough people in the neighborhood to shop at that grocery store too.
I feel that. Yes. Okay.
So it's like, I'm gonna give you, like, let's say that Schnucks that closed down by Fairground Park.
Yeah.
If you go in that area, or that area around the neighborhood, not particularly, I'm gonna say around Fairground Park, it's a little more populated, but like
just around that area.
Like in the Ville neighborhood, like if you got whole blocks that don't have houses on them, is whole blocks where it's only like literally one person living on the street.
Yeah.
So like,
right.
You can't really maintain like a grocery store business in that type of environment as well.
I feel that most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't even talking about crime. I'm just talking about like who's going to shop at this place.
Right.
You feel me?
I feel that.
I just feel like, and this could just be my mind just tumbling, but I just feel like this is more or less to a better agenda.
More or less to a better agenda?
I mean, because...
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, most definitely is.
To me, this is more or less like a cop-out to keep everything segregated and to keep minorities in a mindset of being minor.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's why I'm like, to me, you just want me to conform to some bullshit. That's exactly how I feel, because at the end of the day, if you constantly want to keep a bunch of broke people stuck, of course they're not going to thrive, because the only thing they're surrounded by is a bunch of poor mindsets.
Yeah.
But if you allow those mindsets to be brought into different horizons, if you allow those same sources of knowledge, and if you give those same people the opportunities to thrive and to have the same amount of success as the middle class or upperclassmen, we would be more of a thriving country. We would be more of a thriving economy. We would be more of a thriving people.
I feel that.
But because we have we have people in the higher power who have a higher agenda outside of the people who are actually living in the 24/7, the people who are living in the now. We have to conform to the bullshit.
But I'm also give you something with that too. You know, it's a reason why there is a higher power. They do things that the average person do not do in order to attain that power.
But what is average? The definition of the textbook average, I don't want to be.
I feel that.
But we allow ourselves to be stuck in that mindset because of.
And look what you just said right there.
around.
We allow ourselves, right?
We allow ourselves to be stuck in that mindset.
It's all about, one, it's education, and then what we do, right? When we get money, what do we do with it?
Yeah.
What do the elite people do with their money when they get money?
You're right.
And then what is their mindset towards money? How do they see money? They see it differently than, the average person, the average American. You feel me?
See, that's actually brought into, like, that's teaching habits. And like I was saying, like on the tips I was trying to get to is what is middle class? Middle class isn't anything but, as we've seen, 40,000, like in between 40,000 to $120,000 a year that you're making, which is cool, but it's exactly like, okay, if I'm not at the top, I'm not at the bottom neither. So I'm cool. So now we broke that down to, if I make $13 an hour,
right? Because the average citizen makes about the range of 25,000 to the, I guess, 40,000 mark that you said is the middle class, man.
Yeah.
However, the average person nowadays is also in about the same amount of debt, damn near.
Yeah.
Because you got 50% of the population in school, 50% of the population taking out loans for cars and homes, and then 50% of the population unemployed, but they have welfare and government assistance and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, which I shouldn't have said 50%. I should have been more like 25%.
Yeah. But I mean,
but you know what I'm saying.
You
get my point. So, everything is just all about the power of your mind. At the end of the day, I don't want to conform to nothing that I don't agree with. So instead of that, let's use those. We need more people like that aren't afraid to take whatever wealth and knowledge that they have and share it, instead of trying to keep it covered with a certain classification. To me, that's whack. Like, a lot of people say you ain't really rich if your friend's still broke.
Yeah.
You're not successful if only a certain population of it is successful.
But you gotta also think about this too. Are your friends the one that's keeping you broke?
Yeah, you right with that. That's good too.
You also gotta look at the certain type of circles that you are in. It said, I always hear this, you're the average of the 5 people that you hang out with. And I kind of find that to be true as well.
But you also hear that a lot of times these rich people out here depressed. They be having a bunch of these scandalous lifestyle stories going on. They out
That's
doing
true
a bunch of crazy stuff too. So
money is another trap in itself.
So like I said, it's how you share your wealth. I'm not a person that believes in being selfish. If I ever get to the place where I get in life, which I know I am. So when I get to the place of life that I know I'm going to get to, I'm going to share my wealth. But I'm also going to share it with people that I know are going to take it and actually run with it the right way. So you said that your friends, if they're going to do it right, don't give it to the friend that you're not going to smoke it all down. Give it to the friend that you're not going to run a business. Give it to the friend or the family member that you're not going to take it and use it responsibly.
But at the same time, that's creating the middle and like that's creating the top and lower class. You know what I mean?
Look, okay, all right. So look, let me ask you this, right? On the path that you're going, right?
Okay.
If you got a friend that you know, if you gave them some money, they gonna fuck it off. Would you want that friend around you? Would you really want that friend around you?
No, I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I also
you don't
know how to be friends with people, but I also know how to do business with people.
Yeah.
So
I can still be that person's friend, but let them know, like, hey, bro.
We just can't mix business.
Yeah, I heard your
I mean,
idea,
I'm not saying like necessarily cut people off.
Yeah,
But I
that's what I'm
mean,
saying.
like,
Like, I
the
can still
5
be
people that
friends
you
with
hang
them.
out with the most, like, you can't have that person in like your inner
Okay.
circle. You know what I'm saying?
Let's
Can't
use
be in
that
your fave
example.
5.
5 friend examples, and I'll go ahead and throw y'all in the loop as 2 of the
Okay.
5.
Okay.
So I have a best friend that's been in my life for more than 7 years. He's a bowler. He's been to college. You know, I feel like he can have a great work ethic. What would I do with that? I would try, if I had to put money into it, I would put money where I know he does best at, which is his
Right.
bowling. If I had to put money into you, I would put money what I know you're best at, which is, I'm gonna say skating.
Okay.
If I had to put money into you, it would be probably your real estate, because I see you, that's your niche. I can pick up that. You have to pick your friends, and you have to put in, and build where you know it'll be successful.
Yeah.
You have to build where you know you can actually build. If I know my friend is probably not gonna build with my success, then I'm probably just gonna have to be friends with you from a distance, or just not even add them as part of that building equation. Just be friends with that person. But if I know I got a friend that I know can do something with it, all right, bro, let me talk to you for a second, because we've been rocking for a long time, and I know that I'm finna be on some shit, and you can do it too.
Well,
You gotta be smart with how you moving with people. If you got a bunch of selfish people in power that's only worried about their meal ticket, bro, we're gonna be stuck to
everybody gonna be
gentrification.
everybody.
However the fuck you say that word, goddamn.
But we
Because I
also
legit
got
had to look that shit up.
Awesome whole festival here. But we also got the power to change that too,
Most definitely.
with the power
I
and
was
control of
hoping you
things
said
that we
that.
have.
I was hoping you did.
Because I feel you on the educating yourself on that, because again, who is coming to play on that is by us having the Martin Luther King idea behind us with the beloved community, where he talked about the 3 evils being poverty, racism, and militarism, where he defined poverty to be unemployment, illiterate. We can't do for ourselves, you know what I'm saying? Just the poor miss of education and what it is that we do. And then racism is just that power that he was saying that's just above us, that's not necessarily it's a philosophy of how a person lives, and you know what I mean? That's how racism works. It has to look at someone else's. And then with the military, it's the way how we the organization behind us, you know what I mean? Like, again, police brutality, how we got young women getting raped, you know what I mean? How and when I say that, like, just shedding light on college campuses, how it's very popular on there. And then I went to school with 5 girls who got raped and had to go to class with the guy. You know what I mean? And that's an injustice within itself. And it's just, the police would be like, hey, we couldn't do anything because it happened off campus, so you got to talk to them.
That still falls into character with that whole thing about what do we allow.
Yeah, so and then, like, so on both sides, it's just, that's why I love y'all both, man. It's just because we got one fighting for the education of people who want. If you ain't gonna be, if you don't want to be educated, I'm not gonna waste my time talking to you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's what Gabe talking about on the tip of, that's why we need gentrification to it. Not necessarily need it, but just on a point to where, okay, we gonna try to see what's the benefits of by y'all coming in that we could use for ourselves. You know what I mean?
How can we use it to our advantage?
Right. Instead of trying to enforce that, take bits and pieces of it, but let's now rebuild that word into something that can actually be more knowledgeable for everyone.
Yeah. And that's where
Go ahead. That's why I'm like, that whole conforming to some other shit. Nah, bro. Spread that wealth.
I feel
But you gotta make sure it falls on ears that are ready to listen.
Yeah.
You know, not deaf ears.
Yeah.
So that I feel you on the whole. You know, if everybody don't want it, don't even talk about it. But I feel like if we get it to the right people, then it'll start trickling down. It'll be like a domino effect.
Yeah.
Because once something becomes a trend, people want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to give it to the right people, though.
Because being conscious right now is the wave. Everybody want to be conscious.
And if it falls on the right ears,
now all of a sudden you got the right conscious dude doing the right things, you know what I mean? Or the right conscious dynamic 3.
Man, if people start seeing Chris Brown talk about some whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it falls on, it got to fall on the right people. And you can't be scared to take your platform and run with it. Because we do have a lot of people who have tried, but we also have a lot of power at play.
Yeah.
So we actually have to start being more smart about who we are putting into those positions to change. Because if we always going towards our urban industry, they're always expendable.
I mean.
But if we start going towards people who can actually put their feet down on some stuff and can't nobody touch them for doing it, then we'll be getting somewhere. Now we talking. But if we always aiming at our people that we can replace in 5 minutes, because 15 seconds of fame is real, honey.
But I mean, I don't really think that, I don't really think we should be looking to anybody else to like push change. I think we should all be kind of trying to make change ourselves, whatever that change may be.
I'm not saying just depend on them, but we also are going to need help.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, there's power in numbers.
Well, like, what kind of help are you talking about?
There's power in numbers.
Political or what?
Numbers, period. Help, period. We don't need just political help. I'm not saying just political.
Because you're trying to get too specific.
I'm not saying if anybody in political office. It could be any type of platform that has enough movement. I was just saying that our urban industry, because we always have people of our urban industry that actually do more stepping out, that gets a little bit more publicized outside of political. But they always seem to be the ones that are exterminated as well. Quicker than anybody else that has that same amount of power or platform. I'm not saying just political. I'm just saying platform in general. But that specific platform, the urban platform, always seems to be exterminated quicker when we try to put our voices out. Urban, period. I'm not just saying industry. I'm just saying urban, period.
So like music and all that.
Any type of urban foot down we try to get, we always seem to get pushed out quicker.
Well, that's because our culture has so much influence just around the world.
Very much.
And it's like they understand like the power behind that, but like, and I get what you're saying, but I'm saying, you know, on an individual level, you know.
You gotta do it for yourself first.
Yeah,
because, you know, they can't, you know, we can push it upon like, you know, somebody in the industry or whatever. But what's to say that they even want to take on that type of responsibility?
I mean, but again, deaf ears though, you know what I mean?
Deaf ears. I mean, at the end of the day, the work starts within yourself first and foremost, period. But, you know, I'm just thinking outside of that box, you know, because I already know that it starts with me. But I'm the type of person that, even though I know it starts with me, I'm also thinking about the steps ahead, that who is it going to affect, who is going to be watching me. Because at the end of the day, we are all being watched. And everything we do is under a very, very big microscope. And everything that we put out into the world has a ripple effect on the listeners and the people that are basically mimicking everything that they see and that they're taught and that they learn. So if we're going to be on a movement, why not make sure that the movement is amongst the people who are deserving and willing to take the movement and run with it. B, not only that, but also have enough people with some influence or power as well that understand it instead of just acting as a face but don't know shit about it. Then C, get some power behind it that is going to stand strong and not try to fold us out when we actually start making waves.
Right. Like, so you saying, so like the Black Panther Party, just more so as an example. So like how they was brought down was somebody on the inside. That would be my goal, I guess, for Who Is, where we create, again, this beloved community, because again, that's where we study individualism and unity to where we together know, okay, who is the beginning change starting with yourself. Boom. So now knowing that all of us need help, and the right type of help is with a mentor. You're always better with someone coaching you. You know what I mean? And like you said, with the proper education, anything is possible. And I feel you on the same thing. I mean, it's just with the, if you give us all of us the opportunity to do what we all say we want to do, then all right, let's get it done. And whoever's thrive gonna thrive. And it's just on the same tip of that. From Gabe's point is, okay, we gonna take that and we gonna learn, see, okay, y'all gonna try to create suffering from us, but from that suffering I'm gonna learn how can that benefit me. So yeah, you want to kick me out of where I am because again my people don't appreciate it, you know what I mean, because I handed this house down generation, and now so y'all not keeping up with the house or the payments. Now y'all allowed this to happen. So by you not allowing that, now let's learn from your mistake. And because it's never, all is well until the fat lady singing. If the fat lady not singing, then guess what? All ain't well. So you need to go ahead and keep it going. That's just more so to help your grind. And this is now, how does one learn from that? And you know, and that's where we come in. We open up the platform for you to have these conversations and these talks, and to be able to find us wherever you can, Twitter, Instagram. We all are just I know this is your field, you know what I mean? And it's just more so this is where it starts, because now Tupac said he may not be the change, but he'll spark the mind. You see what I mean? So like you were saying, it's all about the information not falling on deaf ears. You see what I'm saying? So like, you seen the video, we haven't. You see what I mean? So now from there, from you having seen or having this information, now that's brought forth to us. So now we know, okay, gentrification. Look, she learned a new word. You know what I mean? So now, and now it's like on the tip. Now we know, okay, what is a middle class citizen? A person who make $13 an hour, at least $13 an hour. You see what I'm saying? Because now you can break down these terms. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think middle class could even be put into like a salary or a tax bracket.
It is.
But that's where the 40,000 come in. But I'm saying, like, for people who don't know that, because they're not teaching what a tax bracket is in school.
They're not.
You see what I'm saying? So that's why I say $13 an hour.
Before I lose it, and since you hit it, I have a running idea that I want people to think about.
Okay.
Let's just think about the world, the different world countries or whatever. I just say world countries. I don't want to say third world or
right, world countries,
because I don't believe in stuff like that.
Okay.
Let's think about those countries that give school and health care to their citizens.
Yeah, for free. Canada.
And let's look at how they thrive.
Yeah.
Now, imagine what we as a people in the United States would benefit from if we had that same amount of support from our power.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's what I want. That's what I mean by power in numbers and power in people. Think about how we could be thriving right now as a world, as a country, as an economy, if we had this type of support from our power within.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have that because we have a bunch of selfish people in power.
Hey.
And I think that we have that word in those selfish people's minds, and it's not being taught down right.
I feel that.
You know, we can use it, but we can also use it to a better advantage for everyone, not just to put people in classes, but we can use it to put people in better positions all around. Because to me, that's still trying to keep people segregated. Why keep everybody segregated when we can all eat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't put me in no class. I want to be everything.
I feel that.
Let me ask you this. We can all eat, but does it really matter if are we still really integrated? Like, are we integrated today?
That would come.
You know?
That'll come with
That
the
come
change.
time. That come with time. That come with time.
If once everybody sees that we can all share that wealth, what we fighting for? What we gonna fight for if everybody happy? If everybody rich and if everybody successful? What we going to war for where everybody got food, water, healthcare, and can go to school?
Now I feel like now the only focus gonna be is to focus on yourself, and really now you gonna see what's your passion, what's your you know,
like
purpose.
You got people nowadays that don't want to even go to school to better their knowledge because they don't want to deal with the financial burden and the stress and all that other bull crap. Like that's terrible.
And that's going to what you said.
To succeed in the status of the society that people live in, you gotta go to school and you gotta be making that certain amount of money and be in that certain tax bracket.
I beg to differ.
I mean, but again, that's
I'm talking about like just like the whole you gotta go to school.
I mean,
I know where you're coming from.
I'm saying,
I know where you're coming
to
from.
be in a certain, I guess, I'm saying if y'all want to relate it to what we talking about.
The
basic person goes to school.
Yeah, that's him talking.
The basic middle class or upper class citizen has been to school. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they make stuff like that.
They make it up so that you can follow these standards to live by a certain code in play. And if you don't, now you're gonna be at fault.
Yeah,
or
people
be
gonna look at you.
not even at fault.
You can't even make enough money to be a middle class.
Yeah, you're gonna be victimized. You're gonna be victim to be pushed out.
Yeah.
You're a victim of gentrification now. If you don't follow these things.
Thank you.
I got you. I
was trying to get it, but my words be getting jumbled sometimes because I be trying to think of the right things to say.
It's all good. We all good.
Yeah, they make it hard for you to even get there because the stuff that you need is up to damn near hard to reach. It's unobtainable.
Or the stuff that you need is what they're giving. You know what I mean? So it's like I gotta come to you. I gotta ask you to give me.
Yeah, you can go to college, but it's gonna cost you about the same amount of money that you're trying to make.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you want to live. But yeah, you want to live by my rules and be in my neighborhood.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, just that went. Loved it.
I'm glad I learned You learn something new every day. Cause I damn sure didn't know how to say it, spell it, or what it meant. I ain't even gonna cap it.
I'm trying to tell you, it's all love, and we just bringing this message and really wanting to tell y'all, just to, for real, stay educated and really, if you want it, you can get it. You know what I mean? There's always, like Gabe said, you can always learn from something. You know, and like Avi said, that you put in, if you don't allow your neighborhood to fall.
Please don't allow your surroundings to overcome you. I tell people that it's like you was reading my mind, because I tell people that all the time. Do not let your surroundings overcome who you can be and will be.
I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
And see, look, and that's the first thing. Look, what we are doesn't define us. Our circumstances aren't our choice. We all need help. Change won't come unless
what you doing.
I'm trying to tell you, change won't come unless we help each other the right way. Every day someone is born with their eyes closed. And I believe together we can change that. And when the world asks who, what would you say? That'd be our message. Just more so your circumstances, like you said, don't matter. Who you are is who you can and will be. You have no other option. And like, you know, that's what we're here for. So on the ending note, we out. Doses.